Good morning. Day 34, I think. Lots to update you on, but firstly just to cover off today's walking. So I'm back on my own again, and I am at Winderholme Regional Park in the north of Auckland. And today got a nice short day, probably only about 3 hours walking, 3.5 through to Silverdale. Word to the wise, the TA track at the beginning of Winderholme is completely wrong. There is no track where it says you go up the hill. So we're heading up now. There'll be a few obstacles like this. So a cyclone came through New Zealand yesterday and bit of a mess. So we got the mouth of the Puhoi and Waiti rivers below us, and we're just up on this ridge at Winderholme. Good solid climb to get up here through steps and stuff. Ran into a couple of ladies out for a day hike. Asked what I was up to, thought maybe I was training, so I told them a bit about Te Araroa, and they asked for my photograph, which was pretty funny. I'm just passing through Waiwera. Used to be the destination of choice for kids, Auckland kids in summer, because of the very, very good water park that is here, but it's now completely abandoned. I actually filmed the kind of post-apocalyptic looking abandoned site for a TV show last year, but yeah, kind of looks like it's been abandoned for 60 years, and that's only been closed for, not really sure, but it's not very long. It's amazing how quickly it all kind of grows over and starts to look all decrepit. So just to catch you up, so we came out of Dome Forest having spent the night unplanned. We knew we couldn't get to Puhoi that day, and we had a cyclone coming in the next day, which did a bit of damage to New Zealand. So originally we planned to, we basically had a Nero that day. Angie was going to leave trail, and I would carry on from Puhoi the next day. So we went to Puhoi, stayed at the pub. Angie was going to then drive back home, and I'd carry on. However, the kayak company would not rent out kayaks because of the cyclone. And then in the morning, the weather was a lot worse than kind of originally forecast. So as a result, we ended up deciding to I'd just have a 0 day and carry on today. So over the next 3 days, I will finish the walk into Auckland, as far as Devonport, which was where we were always planning to stop. and then kind of have a bit of a prolonged break and reset ourselves to head down south. So that's kind of what we're doing now. Now that Angie is not on trail, and obviously we're close to what's effectively home at the moment, I can actually do these sections as day walks. The next 2 days I'm going to stay at a friend's place, but then that third day I'm just going to do it as a day walk. So Angie will pick me up at the end of tomorrow, take me home. I'll come back out in the morning and carry on. As to what happens after that, we're not really sure. Angie's going to get some expert opinion on a couple of issues that have basically been making the trail pretty unenjoyable for her. Some of it's to do with this horrible hot humid weather that we've had. Fortunately, the cyclone has sucked all that away and we're back to kind of more typical New Zealand late summer weather. But yeah, so we are pending what those experts say as to what happens. I'm now just going to do the North Island this season. Basically, by doing that, I've got work in May, and it was getting a bit tight on the overlap to do that work. They were willing to give me a bit of time, but because of all the delays we've had, you might find that their patience runs out and I miss out on the job, which I don't really want to do. We've had lockdowns when I couldn't work, and now I'm doing the trail, so I need some work at the end of it. So by doing just the North Island, I ensure I can be back for that job, and I got plenty of time now. So what that means is what happens next is going to be very dependent on what the experts say about Angie's various ailments. So we're going to wait and see. There's kind of three scenarios. One is that I carry on my own, and she'll just support me, and then we'll do the South Island next season. Second option is that I carry on my own, and after a period of rehabilitation and treatment, Angie will join me further down the North Island. And then the preferred option is that with a short break, maybe 2 or 3 weeks, Angie could continue, in which case, because I don't have these time restrictions, I will just wait. I'm happy to wait 2 or 3 weeks now that I have that time, for her to be able to rejoin me, because I don't want to do this on my own. I want to do it with her. So yeah, we're gonna wait and see what happens. While we're in Auckland having this stand down, because I think either scenario there will be a break before I start again. So yeah, it's been interesting. I think one of the defining characteristics of this season, particularly of Te Araroa, is that the combined factors of a pandemic, of lockdowns, and of this unusual weather, closed borders, has meant that a lot of people have had a very unusual and very irregular TA experience. I know we're not alone, so it's a bit of a unique season. So this is a bit of a unique version of the trail, I guess. For anyone watching and planning, that's something to bear in mind. So this is a lovely little rock hop found from Wairera to Hatfields Beach. So you go around a few rocky headlands, and a couple of short little sandy beaches in between. It can only be done at low tide. otherwise you're underwater. But the harbour today is very, very calm. The weather's beautiful. It's nice and cool. It's not too humid. There's a few little patches that are kind of boulder hops, but most of it you're walking on the reef, which is quite easy to walk on, and really good grip as well. And then of course those sandy sections. So I'm on Hatfield's beach now, so I'm done with the rock scrambles and the tide dependent walk. I head up now off the beach, take a footpath up over the headland and down into Araroa, where I think I'll get some food. I'm a bit hungry. That was a nice little walk. It was quite a fun adventure, kind of hopping over those rocks, picking out your own route. Yeah, so good fun. I mean, I've got perfect conditions. The Waitemata is like a pond today. There's no breeze. It's just beautiful. So yeah, I had it easy, which is nice after the last wee while. Araroa Beach at low tide. I'm just going to drop down the hill and head down there and get some food. Yum. I just had a pretty cool random encounter back at the end of Araroa Beach. I ran into a gentleman by the name of Jeff Chappell and his wife. Those who know anything about Te Araroa will know that Jeff is the person that effectively created the long pathway. Pretty cool to meet him and have a nice long chat to him and his wife, who's been heavily involved as well in creating the trail. Yeah, so that was pretty special. One of a few shopping malls that is on Te Araroa.